Well, hello there. I didn't see you come in. I'm just here, sipping my lovely cup of tea, contemplating life in a certain time. In fact, I'm thinking specifically about the year 2077 and the dystopian city of night. All of those neon lights shining through the streets, the cybernetics, enhancing and improving humanity, and the vastness of a city with so much promise, it makes you genuinely think about what it would be like to live there. Whilst I sit here, drinking my tea and contemplating, I seem to come to one conclusion every single time. This city, this dystopia, this game, well, it's completely broken. The question, of course, is why is it broken? Why did the most overhyped game of the decade ship like this? And, well, why phallus? Why so much phallus? Welcome, my friends, to Games to You. So let's start off with the fact that this game was overhyped beyond all reason. This game was marketed in a way that was truly revolutionary. This was going to be the largest leap in gaming since 2013, when we got both The Last of Us and GTA 5. We would get an open world, the likes of which we've never seen before. Class-leading driving mechanics, gunplay which would rival Call of Duty, and a complete rework of the first-person melee combat that would rewrite the rulebook. Does this by any chance remind you of anything?
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Yes, in 2016, No Man's Sky came out and had fanfare not quite the same as Cyberpunk, but similar. Gamers everywhere felt cheated and lied to. We felt let down, disappointed, unsatisfied. Hello Games were finished. As far as the gaming community was concerned, they would never be able to release a game again. To many people, they were a dead company. Yet after all this, all the hatred that they were given on Twitter, they just won the Best Ongoing Game Award at the Game Awards. So, bravo, Hello Games. You, sir, have done brilliantly. Of course, No Man's Sky was made by a tiny studio and clearly too big for them, and it was rushed. But Cyberpunk 2077? Well, that was made by CD Projekt Red, the studio who gave us The Witcher 3, with hundreds of developers and incredibly greedy corporate investors. We'll come back to that one just a little bit later in the video. Now, I'm going to come out here and say no studio in the world could have made this game flawlessly, not even the great Rockstar, because there's simply too much ambition here. Night City is designed to have so much life in it that it was set up to fail. The new systems they tried to implement had exactly the same problem. Just to top all of this off, the game was clearly designed for hardware that simply did not exist until this year. Of course, I'm not talking about your rather cute Xbox Series X or even the PlayStation 5, no. This game needed Nvidia 1390 to run at its best, and even then, it just isn't perfect, is it? Oh, it's not even close. Now, let me put this into perspective for you. The 3090 was announced and released this year. It was also a huge shock with just how powerful it is. It dwarfs the 2080 Ti from last year, and yet even this stupid card can only run this game on its highest settings at under 60 frames per second. Now, I'm all up for games moving things forward, but that card is, well, it's £1,400. £1,400. And that is simply too much for a piece of hardware. You need to get the most out of a game because you need everything else to go along with it. Now, I can't really complain about this too much because developers will do what they want. They have unlimited power to do whatever they want. The problem here is that they completely forgot about us mere mortals that run a PlayStation 5 or an Nvidia 2060. And if you run a last-gen console, well, you're shit out of luck. Let's get on to that last-gen console problem, should we? Because this right here is the reason I've stopped my playthrough on the channel. And oh boy, is it a big problem. So let's have a look at what this game looks like on the base PS4 and Xbox One. Ah yes, it's like going back to the PlayStation 1. Have you ever seen anything like it before? Well, the short answer is no. Not at all, because games don't come out in this kind of a state. The game is simply so bad on last-gen consoles that CD Projekt Red offered everybody playing on its old consoles refunds. Hell, Sony decided to pull the game from their store completely. It isn't just the graphics of the game either, as when it does work, you'll only get 10 frames per second. This, by the way, is only if it doesn't crash. Of course, I was playing on the PlayStation 5 where the game ran much better and was in many ways playable, but there were still massive problems. First of all, the lighting was simply broken at the start, with every colour bleeding out, making the game ugly. When you went through a tunnel, it even went to the point where you couldn't even see where you were going. The crashes are still very present as well, which is simply the biggest issue of them all, as this can actually make the game unplayable at times. Sure, I can handle stupid bugs like a random phone floating in the air, but there are plenty of others that just show that this game, it just wasn't ready. Just take this hilarious bug where every car hits this corner that's right next to your apartment in the game. Of course, then you have the penis bug. Yes, I said it. Right there. Penis bug. Now, this bug is quite simply one of the funniest I have ever seen in a video game, but this game is supposed to be a serious open world adventure which will show real consequences to your actions. The stakes are really high here. There's gang warfare, greedy corporations, people struggling on the streets, and random phallus that are completely physicsing out on random NPCs all around Night City. This is a bug that we've never seen before, and for good reason. I can't show it properly on YouTube because I can't show genitalia, especially when it's moving around so ferociously that the people wielding such weapons of mass destruction will ultimately be catapulted into low Earth orbit. This isn't, however, the reason we haven't seen it before. The reason is no other studio thought it necessary to allow the player to choose, create and mould the human anatomy on their character. This means that no other game has these things modelled, and so no glitching penises. Quite simply put, it is an unnecessary and just creating these models and the systems to morph them in the character creator took valuable time that would have been spent fixing other major problems in this game. Take the police system, for example. In GTA 5, you have to actually escape the police for your wanted level to decrease using skill and cunning so that they cannot see you. Here, you pretty much just have to run down the street. Well, they get bored. This takes out any stakes or challenge, which in turn breaks immersion. More time would have allowed developers to sort this. More time would have meant cars could drive around you when you park up on the side of the road. More time would have meant that you wouldn't suddenly fall through the world randomly without warning. And most importantly of all, more time would have meant the last gen versions of the game might have actually worked. So why did the developers not have more time? I mean, Cyberpunk was announced in 2012, so they had 8 years. What more did they need? In all honesty, I'm going to say they needed a year. They needed to not bring the game out on the PS4 or the Xbox One because Cyberpunk is too much for them. There is too much detail in the world for the old hard drives on the old consoles to handle. They need those SSDs. So why did they make the game run on these consoles, and why the hell did they not show the game running on them? This one is really easy to answer. It's simply corporate greed. Investors at the top of the company that simply wanted to make a boatload of money and sail into the sunset with their top hats, monocles, and twirling mustaches. Yes, the premise of the game became the reality for the company which made it. Corporate greed robbed those incredibly talented developers of a Game of the Year contender, a generational leap, a mind-blowing experience. The businessmen and women at the top of CD Projekt Red got this game released way before it was ready. The fact the game got delayed after it went gold should have rang so many alarm bells, and yes, we all thought everything would be fine, but, well, we were very, very wrong. The corporate bigwigs were the ones that decided not to show off the last-gen version of the game. They were the ones that forced developers to crunch every day, and they were the ones that made sure this company lost a lot of trust with gamers around the world. Now, from a business point of view, it makes total sense to release the game on PS4 and Xbox One, but you have to set expectations to fans. You simply have to show the game, especially when it's this broken. Or just not release it at all. Never before has Sony pulled a AAA game from the store after it was released, and quite honestly, I don't think you can blame them. I've also pulled the game from the channel in a way. I'm no longer doing my playthrough until they fix the game. In fact, I might just wait until the next version is released. Make sure you're subscribed, by the way, so that you don't miss that triumphant return. The only people who can be blamed for all of this are the people at the top of the studio, and quite honestly, they have failed not only the company that they represent, but also the games industry as a whole. This game has the potential to be great. In fact, it has the potential to be one of the best ever made, and to even live up to its insane expectations that we, the gamers, put upon it. But that could take a year, so for now, we can simply sit back, watch as the gaming community as a whole rips into this company, feel sorry for the developers, and think about the poor people of Night City which have been catapulted into low Earth orbit. We salute you.